If you haven't filed your taxes in 3 years, 5 years, or maybe even longer, and you've been avoiding this topic because just thinking about it makes your stomach drop, I want you to take a breath. Because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what to do step by step, no shame, no judgment. So let's go. Hey, welcome back. I'm Lloydetta Bryant, enrolled agent and your tax relief specialist. And if this is your first time here, this channel is all about helping everyday people navigate the IRS and reset their financial life without all the fear and confusion that usually comes with it. I want to start by saying something you need to hear. You're not the only one. Falling behind on filing happens to so many people. A divorce, a job loss, a business that didn't go the way you planned, a mental health session, a death in the family. Life happens, and somewhere in the middle of it, taxes got pushed on the back burner. And then 1 year missed turned into 2 year missed, then three. Then the fear of dealing with it got bigger, and then the actual problem seems not so much important to handle right away. Today, we're going to do not fear, right? We're going to do facts and we're going to plan, and here's exactly how we're going to do it. What actually happens when you don't file? First, let's clear up what actually is happening behind the scenes when you don't file. The IRS get copies of your W-2s or 1099s and any income reported under your Social Security number or your business ID, right? Same as you would if you filed, so they know what income existed. What they don't have is your return, your deductions, your dependents, your filing status, your business expenses if you're self-employed. If enough time passes and you still haven't filed, the IRS can prepare what is called a substitute for return on your behalf, or an SFR. This is the IRS filing for you, using only the income they have on record without the deductions and credits, and almost always going to be at the most highest possible filing status, which usually is bigger than the one if you had filed yourself. Here's the part that surprises people. This usually doesn't happen immediately. The IRS isn't sending agents to your door day after day, right after the deadline passes. But the longer it goes, the more likely it becomes and the more limited your options get, right? So this isn't about panic, it's about understanding the timeline you're working with. Here's a myth. I'll just get in trouble. Let's talk about the biggest myth that people keep saying that gets them stuck. If I file now, after years of not filing, I'm going to get in trouble. Here's the truth. The IRS is far more interested in you getting compliant, meaning caught up in filing again, than they are in punish you for not filing or falling behind. Criminal charges for not filing are rare and typically reserved for cases involving willful and repeated fraud, not someone who just forgot and got overwhelmed and fell behind. What you will deal with is penalties and interest on any balance owed. That's a financial consequence, not a criminal one. And in many cases, especially for people with a clean prior history, there's options to reduce or even remove certain penalties once you're caught up. The number one thing I want you to walk away with from this session, filing late is almost always better financially, emotionally, than continuing to not file. The fear of getting in trouble keeps people stuck for years longer than necessary, and the delay is actually what causes the bigger problem. Number one, let's figure out exactly which years are missing. All right, so that's going to be the action plan and our step one, figuring out exactly what's missing. It sounds simple, but a lot of people aren't actually sure. Was it 21? Was it 22? Wait, no, 23 for sure, because I did that. Did it start earlier? You need a precise list before you can do anything because guessing leads to either filing years you didn't need to or missing the one that actually matters. Sit down today if you can and write out every year starting from the most recent one going backwards and mark which ones you know you filed and which ones you didn't. If you're not sure, that's okay. Step two is going to help you confirm it. Number two, pull your wages and income transcript from the IRS. This is going to help you know where you stand. It's the most underused free tool available, and it's going to make the entire process so much smoother and easier. You can create a free account on the IRS.com site, and you can request your wage and income transcripts for each year that you're not sure about. The transcripts show every W-2, every 1099, and other income documents that was filed under your Social Security number. It even shows ones that were filed, maybe that you didn't know were filed, that weren't supposed to be filed under your Social Security number. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you have your free online IRS account. I'll drop a link with the instructions on how to get one set up for you. That will be a free resource, and you can get your account set up. If you don't see income reported for a certain year, that's useful information too. This step removes the guesswork and completely puts you in control of knowing what is what and what is not. And it'll only take you less than 15 minutes. Number 3, decide how many years you actually need to file. Figure out how many years you actually need to file. This is where I see people either panic and think they need to file 15 years of returns, or they assume they don't need to deal with it at all, and neither is usually accurate. A general rule, the IRS typically requires the last 6 years of tax returns to be considered compliant. That's their general policy for what they'll call currently compliant status. Though this can vary on your specific situation, and everything is always going to be a specific basic when it comes to dealing with taxes and things of this personal nature, especially if there's refunds involved or a specific compliance issue. So this matters because it tells you the actual size of the project you're working on. And for a lot of people, when they actually map this out, it's not the 10-year nightmare they imagined it was. If it's 3 or 4 returns that need attention, getting clear on the real number is honestly one of the most relieving parts of the whole process. And for number 4, getting your returns prepared the right way. Getting those returns actually prepared is important, and the right way is even more important. I want to be really clear here. This is the step where doing it yourself with a generic software program can actually hurt you if you don't know what you're doing. Multiple year back filing is different from a normal current tax year return. There are so many different nuances. There's so many tax codes and tax laws that may have been in place in one year that weren't there for another, how prior deductions are handled, how self-employment income across multiple years can get reported or misreported, whether you qualify for a certain credit that has a specific look back period, and how to structure the filing in order so that it works in your favor with the IRS. This is exactly the kind of situation we're working with someone who's specializing in back tax filing, and IRS representation makes a real difference, not just for accuracy, but making sure you're not leaving money on the table or accidentally creating a bigger problem. We don't want to make this harder than it needs to be, and we don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we're looking at something more serious than we initially were. Number 5, address the balance. You have options. Step 5, once your returns are filed and you know the actual number you owe, address the balance. And here's something important. You may not even owe what you think you owe. This is again the reason why it's important to sit down, write this thing out. Write out the years, write out if there's any balance dues for those years, and keep track. Sometimes when people finally file, they discover they were actually due a refund for more years than they thought. Other times there's a real balance, and that's where the IRS resolution programs come in. Think things like installment agreements or pay over time or currently not collectible status if you're facing a genuine financial hardship. Or in some cases, an offer in compromise. Me and that word just don't get along. And OIC to settle for less than the full amount as another option. These options are specific to a specific situation, so don't quote me here to say that I said that you can do this one or that one. It all depends, friends. The key thing to understand is this: you don't have to know which option fits you before you start. That's actually part of what a real assessment of your situation is for. What matters right now is getting the returns filed, so you have real numbers to work with instead of fear-based guessing. There's never a reason to guess or assume. We can always get the accurate information, and that way we know what we're facing in real life, in real time, and then know what strategy is going to be best to attack it. Number 6. This one is just as important as catching up. Staying caught up. Once you're compliant, the goal is to never end up back in the same position, right? We don't want to keep hitting the same wall. We don't want to keep going in the same direction. We want to move forward. We want to keep going in a positive direction. This means we want to make sure that we're adjusting the withholding on your W-2 if you're an employee, or setting up regular quarterly estimated payments if you're self-employed. Those two are key. We're going to dig deeper into those as we move forward into these educational sessions. So you're not building a new balance while you're still paying off the old one. Again, these are very important to make sure we're doing the right thing going forward so we can stay compliant. This also means that we're building a system. Systems help us to stay on track. Without a system, I'd be lost. Even a basic one, right? For tracking income and saving documents throughout the year instead of scrambling each year. A lot of times you'll hear accountants tell individuals to make sure that they just kind of throw everything that says important tax document in a box as they get it throughout the year. I don't really like that method because then at the end of the year you get a box, right? That's no fun. However, I do want to make sure that everyone knows how to keep up with those documents as they come in during the year because you're going to need them. And then you want to make sure that at least at the end of the month, if not by the end of the week, that you go through those letters that came in. And again, open up that spreadsheet, or if you're writing it down in your journal, look at those letters, see what they are, and categorize them into different based on what they are, right? Like, so that you're not just stuck at the end of the year. It's like, I have this box, so I don't know what's in it. That's exactly where the money reset checklist I created and built for you comes in. It walks you through getting organized so it doesn't become a recurring cycle. I'll talk more about that in a second. Here's a real action plan summarized very simply. 1, figure out exactly which years you're missing. 2, pull your free IRS transcripts to confirm. 3, get clear on how many years you actually need to file. 4, get those returns prepared correctly, ideally with someone who specializes in this. 5, address whatever balances come up using the actual options available to you. 6, put a system in place so you don't end up here again. Now, I want to make this easier for you with 3 free resources. The first one is to take my tax relief quiz. This isn't just a generic quiz. It actually helps you understand your money management style, which matters because you've been managing money and it may not be the best way or a way that connected with how you got here, or it is the reason of how you got here. Understanding this pattern is part of moving forward in a different direction, in the right direction. 2, download my money reset checklist. This gives you the practical step-by-step actions to get organized, whether you're still gathering documents or getting ready to talk to a professional. 3, if you're ready to stop guessing and actually map out your specific situation, book our free tax relief discovery call. This is a 30-minute call where we walk you through exactly where you are, how many years you're likely involved, and what your realistic next step look like. No pressure, no judgment, just clarity. I want to say this one more time. Falling behind doesn't make you irresponsible, and it doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. What matters now is what you do next. And you just spent 15 minutes learning exactly what that is. If this video helped you even feel a little less alone in this, hit the like button and subscribe. I post new videos every week to help you navigate the IRS and reset your finances, one honest step at a time. Drop a comment and let me know even just this today was what I needed. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next video, and remember, friends, you've got this.